ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to BoreDraw episode 12, I believe. Let's
episode
go.
12.
Let's go. I introduced it. Crazy stuff.
Yeah, what's going on?
12 episodes in, I thought I'd treat everyone.
Yeah, we'll switch it up. I mean, the season's coming around the corner.
Yeah,
so
come on.
I think I said that at the beginning of every episode.
Yeah,
for the last, like, 5
but now
episodes.
it is, I think, officially 7 days away.
But it is here.
7 days,
It's coming.
baby.
We've got the EFL kicking off.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah,
We've
let's
got
go.
big episodes coming out now as well.
Just, we're getting to the juicy teams.
Yeah,
no disrespect to the
don't
other
want to
teams.
gas the big six too much,
But
we're at the big six now.
yeah, are they still the big six though?
I think so.
Yeah,
They were last season's top
Yeah,
six.
they were. Yeah.
This episode, we're talking Chelsea, Spurs, my beloved Arsenal, and Man United. We'll run through.
It's going to be 25 minutes about every other team and then a 3-hour podcast about Arsenal. Yep. So we're going to kick it off with the mighty Chelsea.
Order.
Yeah,
we'll run in
so we're
Prem
going to do it
order
in
from
the order
last
they
year.
finished last season.
Yeah.
Obviously, Thomas Tuchel's Chelsea.
What are you saying about him?
Well, I think, to be honest, I'm going to look at their transfer activity first.
Yeah.
Obviously, big name out the door in Antonio Rudiger.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say Lukaku. But
Yeah, I mean, he is a big name out the door, but he's gone out on loan, isn't he, back to Inter.
Yeah.
Probably for some hefty loan fee. I think the biggest loss is Rudiger in that defence. I think he was
100%.
a reason they were so hard to beat.
How much did he go for?
Was it not a free too?
I don't know. Imagine. Yeah, it might have been. Actually.
Yeah, I think it was a free.
Because he didn't want to sign a new contract.
Yeah, that's it.
Fucking imagine letting him play. He's like £80 million defender.
Yeah, 100%. I think the thing is with Rudiger going, obviously that leaves a big gap. I mean, you look at their centre backs. Thiago Silva getting on, had a phenomenal season.
He's like 40 now.
Had a phenomenal season.
Still a good player, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
he can't do 40 games a season. Azpilicueta, old, and also, like, I know he plays as a centre back for them a lot, in that right centre back role, but he is primarily a right back.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's been there a while now, and you know, he's not a top 10 Premier League centre back.
Nah, no, not
and
anymore.
that's what you got to be targeting if you want to be pushing. And then, like, you've got Trevor Chalobah, who's come on very well.
He's a weird one because I think he's good, but he seems to make a lot of mistakes that lead to goals.
Yeah, but he's young. And
that's true.
He's sort of got thrown into that team.
Yeah, 100%.
But they've done some great business in bringing in Kalidou Koulibaly from Napoli. I mean, I think he's been renowned as one of the best centre-backs in Europe for a while now.
Yeah, outstanding centre-back. And I think a good transfer. But long-term, I mean, Chelsea never really think long-term, so maybe that's a silly thing to even discuss. But long-term, do you want a 32-year-old Azpilicueta, 31-year-old Koulibaly,
and a 70,000-year-old Thiago Silva?
Exactly. It's not really what you want to build on. But then again, like I said, Chelsea are all about short-term. So maybe... And he's a good centre-back at this moment in time. So
he's a phenomenal centre-back. I think he actually might be more progressive than Rudiger, which might apply to the style that Tuchel likes to play. The other big signing they've made this summer is none other than the boy from Brent.
Come on.
Big Raheem Sterling. I think it's a phenomenal bit of business. I think 50 million for him is a bargain.
Yeah, 100%.
He's literally in his prime years, 27 years old now. He at City, he was the highest amount of goal contributions under Pep Guardiola, which just goes to show everything that he's about. He will create chances and put them away.
Yeah, 100%.
I know a lot of City fans slated him a lot for his finishing ability,
got better.
But if you make 20 chances and you score like 12 of them, you've done all right.
Yeah, 100%. And I think the thing is, it's not like... So the thing is, with City, he comes in and out of the squad so much that maybe it takes time to get his like mojo back. Exactly that, and like you're always competing. Whereas in that Chelsea team, he will have a starting 11 spot every single game of the week, and that'll give him that consistent run of games to. He's already really good at finishing anyway, but just to keep developing.
Kick on,
yeah, 100%.
I mean, I think that's the idea, is that he, especially before this World Cup year, he goes to Chelsea and he sort of becomes one of the main men.
Yeah.
Instead of just being one of like an abundance of great players at City. You know what I mean? Like he's won enough to look back on his career and say, yeah, I've done it.
Yeah.
But I think he really, now in his prime, wants to push on and show everyone the player that he is, and we all know he can be, especially we've seen it for England as well. I think it's really interesting to see how he slots into Chelsea's formation. Obviously, I like to play with the 3 at the back, the 2 wing backs and Chilwell and James.
Yeah.
Then the 2 in the middle, and then sort of like 2 players behind that striker. So it'd be interesting to see how they fit in Mount, Havertz, Werner, maybe Werner, Hudson-Odoi even maybe.
Well, I saw today that apparently Hudson-Odoi's on his way out, and people were saying Werner was, but apparently Tuchel sees Werner in his plan. So I think a front three of...
they don't have any depth at striker.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
100%.
I know like Sterling could play them potentially like a false 9 role, or Havertz has been playing up there, and I think that's probably his best position.
Yeah, I like Havertz up there.
I would really like to see them play Sterling out on the left and Mount on the right behind Havertz. I think that would be a really deadly combination up front.
Even Werner up in that middle with Sterling and Mount on either side, the pressing would be crazy.
Yeah, exactly. It's the amount of speed and technical ability in that front 3 would be crazy. I mean, defenders won't be able to rest for a minute.
What's your opinion on Mason Mount? Just a random one.
I don't know. I think it's like he's maybe the bit of a player that when he's there, you don't appreciate him, and then when he's not there, you can see the sort of gaps that have been left.
Yeah.
But
because I see a lot of Chelsea fans on my timeline giving him stick, and anytime I watch Chelsea, I said this in one of our first podcasts, I think Mason Mount's always just the most exciting player on their team. It always seems to be the one on the ball making things happen. And I get that sometimes he can be frustrating, like his finishing's not that great, but I think he's just so hungry all the time to get involved, and I just that's all you want in a player.
I think, I mean, obviously when he's come through, Chelsea fans are looking at him as their like Phil Foden or their Bukayo Saka. And I think in previous seasons, them two have had better seasons than Mount. But I think he plays a different role.
Yeah.
He can come from a lot deeper than either of those 2 players usually do. And I think they're expecting him to like pick up the ball in the middle of the pitch, progress forward and score like a 30-yard screamer like every game, and he just doesn't do that. He's really good around the edge of the box though, really good around the edge of the box, and he occupies spaces which create space for other players to run in behind, and that will be so deadly with players like Sterling, who loves to break, he loves to beat that offside trap, or he loves to play off the shoulder, doesn't he? Which we once again saw a lot for England, especially in the Euros. So I think he's going to have a really important season for them. And I think another player who obviously he's come back from a loan at Everton, Conor Gallagher.
Crystal Palace,
Crystal Palace, he's been linked to Everton, hasn't he?
Yeah.
But yeah, he seems to be in Tuchel's plans.
Well, I was going to ask you, where do you think he slots in? Because,
I mean,
they play the 2, and do you think he's got enough about him to play in that 2?
I don't know. I think obviously Kante's got another year at Chelsea, and I think he'll be the one to displace. I mean, I don't really know what Chelsea's favourite midfield pairing is. I don't really know.
Yeah, I'd say probably Kovacic and Kante.
Yeah, I mean, Jorginho.
I think he's probably outdated now.
Yeah, I
think he's had that season where somehow he was like
third on Ballon d'Or,
and I think everyone was just like, has he actually done that good?
That's because he won the Champions League and the Euros, right?
Yeah.
But he was not the best player in either of those teams that won.
He's all right. He'll make the game tick by, but in a 2, if you have a midfield 3, you could probably afford to have him.
Yeah, he's a luxury player,
but
really.
In a midfield 2, you need 2 players that are going to work their classes
tirelessly,
off. Mate. And
so I think
it's him.
In potentially Conor Gallagher could do that, but I think obviously we saw at Palace his best role was when he was allowed to get forward a lot, and he had some great numbers for Palace in terms of progressive passes and his goal contributions as well. But playing in that midfield too won't allow him the freedom. He's got to be very much a supportive role.
100%.
And I don't know whether that range of passing is there, which will allow him to unlock defences for players like Raheem and for Werner and everyone else.
Yeah, because they were loosely linked with Frankie de Jong, and I think he's the kind of player that they like in that too.
Yeah,
but
100%.
obviously he doesn't want to leave Barca allegedly.
But yeah, I think like Chelsea, and there's been a lot of negativity around Chelsea coming into this season. I know, like obviously Tuchel's come out saying some really weird stuff. And they've had a pretty stinky couple of results in pre-season.
Got battered by the boys.
Yeah, and obviously Gallagher had a horrendous penalty miss.
That was so bad.
But I mean, you got to have balls to go for that, so you kind of got to rate it. But
do it in the pre-season. Why not?
It is a weird one because you would always assume Chelsea would be there or thereabout, competing with, especially for the Champions League places. But usually that 3rd position is pretty much locked down to theirs. But I think especially with the teams we're talking about today, there's a lot more competition than there has been in previous seasons.
And I've been doing some watching of other people's like league rankings, and Chelsea, like across the board, people are placing them lower than I think they expect, and I think Chelsea fans expect. So I think it could be a tough season for Chelsea if they don't, because they haven't really been super active in the window. Obviously, Koulibaly and Sterling are both really good signing, and they've been linked to a host of players that have all just been absolutely snagged by Barcelona.
Barcelona have literally read Chelsea's shopping list and just picked them apart.
I love that one.
Koundé is signed for Barca today. Where they're getting this,
Dembele, Lewandowski, all them man are just.
We say this every episode, but where are Barca getting this money? Because
we'll do it.
I don't know.
We're gonna have to get some
no idea.
Barca dog on the podcast and see if we can figure.
There
out
will be a Channel 4 Threads documentary about Barcelona. Genuinely, it's mad. But yeah, Chelsea have had like a fair few amount of players absolutely just sniped from under their noses. I mean, Lewandowski would have been great for them, but I think even they offering 50 million and whatever wages on for a player of his age is just it could be detrimental. I was going
to float this one. Obviously, the news is Ronaldo wants out of Man United. He wants his contract terminated.
Yep.
And there was like earlier in the window like a brief kind of fluttering that maybe Chelsea were interested in Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Why don't they go make that happen?
I know when the new chairman came in, they were very like that was a rumor that he'd met with him and everything. I mean, I think it's the same sort of situation with Lewandowski. I mean, how much short-term success do you want in relation to like having a team that can compete with Liverpool and City in a year or two?
Yeah, I know. I think the thing with Chelsea is, though, they never want to do a project. They want that short-term success.
But like, if they
give Ronaldo a 2-year contract and he wants to play Champions League football, which he'll get at Chelsea, and the potential to win some big trophies, I think he'd be a good signing.
Yeah, I mean, you know he's going to put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, 100%.
And I mean, if you've got players like Sterling, Mount, Kante,
all of them off Ronaldo,
their press is really good. So they make up for what he lacks in press.
So that's the thing. In the United team, he lacked the press, but so did all the Man United players.
Yeah.
Whereas in the Chelsea team, he might lack the press, but the Chelsea players don't. Tuchel will be like on their class if they lack the press. And that'll be good.
It'll give them a focal point to play through, which they didn't have under Lukaku because he just absolutely couldn't turn up for
Gives them. Havertz kind of competition for that middle spot. He can learn off Ronaldo.
Yeah.
I like the idea.
The idea is there. I don't know whether it will happen, though. I think Ronaldo is too much money involved. I think he's going to end up staying at United for the season.
Yeah, maybe.
I think he's been said to be playing in their next pre-season friendly tomorrow.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's against Sociedad or someone. I'm not 100% sure, but I think he'll be staying with the United squad for the rest of the season.
Interesting.
Maybe until January. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
That's interesting.
The last thing I want to talk about with Chelsea, obviously, they're pretty strong across the board, but lacking that strike, like that central striker now that Werner's sort of been proven that he's not really that player.
Yeah.
And Lukaku didn't work out. Obviously, we went through a list of their strikers that ended up on the 10 worst transfers of all time in the Premier League.
Yeah.
But letting Broja sort of sit and not do much, is that a mistake for them, or is that
I think
a player?
It's a massive mistake. You see, apparently I don't know how legit this link is, but apparently Real Madrid were looking at him. But I think he's just, even if you don't think he's the answer, having him in and around the squad in a position where you've only got pretty much one player, he's not going to do any harm. If you bring him on in like the 70th minute in a game where you're winning 2-0, he can just take if you've got Champions League the next couple of days, put him on.
I mean, it's been proven that he can score goals in the Premier League, and that was for a Southampton team that weren't most potent.
Yeah.
And a Chelsea team that's going to carve out more chances. He's surely going to be more successful.
Yeah, I don't get the...
You've got a player on your books who's come through and obviously had that successful loan spell. It sort of gave me Batshuayi vibes. I know Batshuayi sort of fell off a little bit in his later loan spells, but he had a couple of decent loan spells, and he looked good when he came on for Chelsea in spurts. So,
kind of.
I mean, why have they got something against actually just playing players that actually come through their ranks? I don't know.
Yeah,
but I mean, so I think they'll do right this season. I think they might have a slow start though. I think it might take time to sort of get back into the groove of it, but at times last season they did look really dangerous and really hard to break down, and I think if they can keep James and Chilwell fit the entire season, that will unlock the success. They are for me, they're the two key players.
Yeah, 100%. When they were both injured in like the same period of time, kind of completely fucked over Chelsea.
Oh, 100%. I do worry about their sort of depth of defence. Though I don't. Yeah. The only thing they do have going for them is their versatility in defence. Obviously, like Azpilicueta can play that right back role. Trevor Chalobah can also move to a right back role. So I mean, they do have players that can cover. Yeah. But I'd be interested to see maybe I don't know whether they could switch to a back four, because I know that's what Koulibaly played with at Napoli, and play like with more bodies in midfield, and maybe allow Gallagher to come on and play that progressive midfielder role and push forward more than he would be able to do it in the midfield too.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right.
I agree. I think Reece James and Chilwell are the most important men. And I think this is one thing I just thought about is like the teams that we're talking about today, depth-wise, aren't the level of City and Liverpool, because I could pick 2 players on pretty much every team that we're going to talk about today, where if they were injured, the team crumbles.
Oh, 100%.
And for Chelsea, it's James and Chilwell. And I'll tell you, we'll go on to Spurs now. The 2 players I think for Spurs, obviously, are Kane and Son. If they get injured at any point, it's a mockery for Spurs. They're going to fall down the league. But if they're all good, Spurs, I think, are looking good for the coming season.
Yeah, I was just going to say...
Blasphemy from an Arsenal fan.
I think for like these 4 teams specifically, the way I'm sort of ranking their transfer windows and their sort of like progression,
transfer window ranking incoming,
is through I'm looking at City and Liverpool and saying, right, what have these teams done to elevate themselves or like close the gap between those 2 teams? Because until they start doing that, it's a 38 game season, not including cup games and European competition. Do they have enough depth in their squad and enough quality to be able to even compete with those 2 teams? That's the real question. Right, we're going to hop onto Spurs. We'll be right back.
Quick break. Back again.
We're back again, and now we are going to talk about Mr. Antonio Conte's Spurs.
Yeah, boy.
Come on.
That was good.
I think out of these 4 teams, Spurs are the team I'm most excited to watch this season.
Never.
I mean...
Over the boys.
It is close between them and Arsenal. Yeah, I really like what Arsenal are doing. I think Gabriel Jesus is going to be mad. But Spurs, they looked really good at times under Conte last season. They absolutely tore teams apart.
Yeah.
Kane and Son.
Them in the big games, the way they played against City and the way they played against Liverpool is what scares me the most. Them in like... I think that kind of got labelled at them towards the end of the season, is that they couldn't break down low blocks. But games where it was like fucking like a basketball game and it was end to end, Spurs probably are like the best end-to-end team in the league.
I think their transitional play is only bettered by Liverpool. I think Liverpool were the best in the league in terms of transitioning straight from defence to attack. Not counter-attacking, because counter-attacking is literally bosh.
Yeah.
Transitioning play is being able to build segments through the pitch and build presence there, but quickly.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think their Spurs are going to be an exciting team to watch.
No, it does pain me to say it. Obviously, they beat Arsenal to top 4 last season. We had a fat crumbling.
We'll cut it down to two topics with Spurs. Obviously, we're going to talk about their transfer activity this window. But then I want to ask you about what is the recipe for a successful season for them. So we'll start with the transfer window.
Yeah, boy.
Big one is Richarlison, snatched away from Everton. He's been abducted. Not against his will, against Everton's fans' will, but that's a big loss for Everton. We talked about that before.
Let me tell you what I think about Richarlison.
Get it in.
Firstly, big wanker. No, I'm joking. I think very expensive transfer. One of my mates at work, he's a Spurs fan, disgusting human. No, I'm joking, he's all right. He said 60 mil for Richarlison is expensive. And so I think as much as Spurs fans want to tell themselves 60 mil for Richarlison isn't expensive, I think it is. But what you're getting is a young, hungry, Prem-proven Brazilian international that can play anywhere across the front 3. He can slot in alongside Kane and Son. He can back up Kane or Son if they need a break. So I think his versatility and how decent he already is at the Prem level is good, not 60 million. But I still think it's a good signing for Spurs specifically. If someone else like Man United paid 60 million, he doesn't do what they need. So that'd be 60 million not well spent. And I'm not saying this 60 million is well spent, but it's not as badly spent as, say, Man United signed him. So I like the Richarlison signing.
So it's not expensive.
That is.
It's still expensive, but it does a job for them.
Yeah. It's expensive.
I think that's exactly what Liverpool and City do, though. Like, obviously, we had this conversation about Calvin Phillips. He, 50 million, whatever it was, for him is expensive.
Yeah.
But he's there to do a job, so they don't mind paying over it.
Don't start talking about Spurs in the same bracket as City and Liverpool.
I think out of all the 4 teams we're covering today, Spurs' squad is the closest to City and Liverpool's.
Blasphemy. Nah, probably Chelsea still, but
I don't think so.
I don't know. I think everyone's getting a little bit too gassed about Spurs.
I don't know.
I do appreciate what they've done. Obviously,
it hurts.
It all kind of sounds a little bit sarcastic and biased.
That's because it is.
Because it absolutely is. But I think everyone needs to just chill. I see a lot of people on the timeline say that if another club like Chelsea or like Man United made the signing Spurs made, people would be bantering them.
I don't think so.
I don't think he's as good as everyone's saying he's going to be.
No, but he does. I think he will bring something. He's
Longley is what I say to that.
Oh my god! Right, so they've signed Richarlison, Basuma, Spence, Perisic.
Them 3 good signings. Richarlison, I'd give a 7 out of 10. Basuma, 9 out of 10 signing. Jed Spence, maybe a 6.5, 7 out of 10.
Yep.
So I'm not slating Spurs too much. I think that them 3 are good. I think Longley, it's all right.
It's depth though. It's depth.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. But
better or worse than Trevor Chalobah?
Worse.
He's worse than Trevor Chalobah?
I think so. I haven't seen much of Longley, but I'd say so.
Okay. But yeah, Perisic, he obviously Conte knows him.
Yeah.
Conte, I would put up there with maybe not quite in the echelon of a Klopp and Guardiola, but he's not far behind. I really rate him that much, and I think he knows what he's bringing in with Perisic. He's getting known quantities.
Yeah.
And obviously
known quantities in Serie A.
Yeah, Serie A, but he's done it on the international stage as well, as many England fans know.
Yeah, but that was 4 years ago?
Yeah, but he's managed.
There's a lot of years gone.
But it doesn't matter because now we've got 5 substitutions in the Premier League. He doesn't need to play 90 minutes week in, week out.
Yeah. No, I flirted with having him in my fantasy team.
Exactly. He's got the attacking output of a right winger, and he's playing right wing back because he can defend.
Yeah. No, I'm not mad at the signing. I just think the window isn't... Everyone's saying Spurs have had the best window in the league.
It's close, but they've got to be talked about in the conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe the only other team who has had a better window is Arsenal. Yeah. Or Nottingham Forest.
Forest, I like their window.
Forest have a great window for themselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Perisic being brought in is really interesting because, like I said, he's a known quantity to Antonio Conte.
Yeah.
And their previous wing backs, right? They've got Emerson Royale.
Dead food, mate.
And by the way, Perisic can play on the left or the right.
I'd start Jed Spence, even if he's never had a game in the Premier in his life, over...
I don't know. I think he could be a liability.
Who, Jed Spence?
Yes, he can.
As more than Emerson Royale?
I don't know.
Emerson Royale,
yeah.
Dead.
But Reguilon as well.
Who?
Big Reguilon.
Sergio Bowl of Reguilon, please.
Come on, big Reguilon.
Jesus.
He come out of Real Madrid, and was like, right, I'm going to go to the Premier League and I'm going to absolutely smash it up. And he started well.
He started good.
He was pacey, and then he suddenly just fell off, and now they can't find him. Doherty sort of did all right towards the end of the season. Yeah. He sort of turned a few heads. People were
thought he was going to be such a good signing when they first
everyone did. But the thing is, he's not actually that fast. And
I think his actual tech level isn't that good either.
Nah, but he's a hard worker. He's a hard grafter.
He's a grafter.
He puts in the graft. So.
He's a grafter.
Yeah, and then Sessegnon, who's not really done anything since he signed from Fulham.
Yeah, he was meant to be the boy, wasn't he?
He was meant to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. Yeah,
since a bowl of
Since a bowl of Reguilon. And then it's all a bit it's gone a bit messy for him, but I know he started a few of the pre-seasons for them, and he was playing a bit towards the end of the season, so they've got a lot of depth now.
Yeah, no, I do agree.
And it's pivotal to how they play.
I think that's what's made Arsenal and Spurs' windows so good, is that depth-wise, they've gone from like having, say, average depth to have like players that come in and be average. Now the depth is the players will come in and keep that level high.
And the competition for places is going to be better than ever.
So I do agree. But for me, I think Spurs need some time because there's a lot of new faces now.
Yeah, I think the core of their team is still there. Obviously, like you've got the Højbjerg, the Bentancur, the Son, the Kane.
But is it Højbjerg and Bentancur?
I don't know yet.
Where's Basuma coming?
I don't know yet. I think Basuma's going to be playing.
I saw they were linked with like Højbjerg leaving.
Yeah, I mean potentially. I think he's been alright for them, to be honest.
Yeah, so do I. I actually like not Bentancur, Højbjerg. But
I think Bentancur
Basuma doesn't not get in that team.
No, I know, but I think Bentancur actually was really good towards the end of last season. I think Romero is a great centre back.
Yeah.
I think Erik Dyer on his day can be really good, and I like how he does push into midfield a lot.
Yeah.
As a centre back. Who's the other boy they got?
So they do either Davinson Sanchez or Ben Davies.
Ben Davies, yeah. I mean, potentially you're looking at that third role. I mean, that's probably why Longlay's come in.
Yeah.
It'll be wait to be seen whether he's actually going to be able to do anything in the Premier League. I know he's not really done too much at Barcelona in terms of pulling up.
No, I think he's got purchased or he's on loan, but for his ball playing ability, I think Spurs did lack that. Apart from Romero, no one could really, as their defender, play the ball through the lines.
I like Romero a lot. I think he's
Erik
such
Dyer
a nasty defender.
But Romero seems to have good ball playing ability through the line, and I think they need that on either side. And I think in that sense, from what I've heard, Longlay's really good with his feet, so maybe he offers that a bit more than Ben Davies and Erik Dyer, who fucking got like Toblerone feet and
obviously
their lives.
They've brought in Kulusevski as well on a permanent.
Yeah, I like Kulusevski a lot.
That's going to be great. And like, so now their depth forwards, they've got Son, Kane, Richarlison, who can play anywhere across that sort of three.
What's their strongest front three, do you reckon?
I think it is Son, Kane, Kulusevski at the minute.
So they're paying 60 million for a Don that isn't in their strongest front three.
I think they've got they've got some leeway with Richarlison because he will be able to get the freedom of finding out where he's going to fit best.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Right,
but what you have just told me,
you can't drop Kulusevski right now.
No, you can't,
because he had such an amazing finish last season.
So why pay 60 million for a Don that's not getting in your team?
Because I mean, I think the value's there. He's like you said, he starts for Brazil. Yeah,
he does.
One of the top international team in the world. Yeah, but I think I don't know. I think the best Richarlison is still to come.
Yeah,
I think it really is.
No, so do I.
And I think
down
he
the
will
line, obviously
lock in a place in that front three. But you start.
He is a good asset to have in the team. I was bantering you a little bit, but
bro, everything you say is banter.
But no, I agree. He's a good asset to have in the team, and obviously Son and Kane aren't getting any younger. They've got seasons in them, obviously, but they're both on the wrong end of 30. So.
Who's gonna outscore who? Son or Kane?
Son every day of the week, mate.
You think Son's gonna outscore Kane?
Son is. I had this discussion with the same geezer I was talking about earlier from work who supports Spurs, and I said to him that Son's a better player than Kane, and he wasn't having it. He said if you watch Spurs, he's got Spurs season ticket, and he was like, if you watch Spurs, Kane just is always better than Son. So maybe as an outsider, I'd pick Son, but
yeah, I mean, I love Son. I think if he was playing for a Real Madrid or something, he'd be up there in the talks for like, But I think Harry Kane is phenomenal. I think what he brings, not just in finishing, like in terms of his passing is probably one of the best in the Premier League.
So who would you say is better, Son or Kane?
I think Kane. Personally, I think Kane is better than Son.
Okay, interesting.
I think if you take,
I mean, for Spurs, it's a nice problem to have.
You could put Harry Kane anywhere, any team, any place, and he will do Harry Kane things. I think if you
put a good goalkeeper.
If you put Son in a team where he's not getting fed those through balls all the time, like the ones Kane gives him, then he wouldn't score as many goals as he does now. Yeah. I mean, if you look at, that's why they got the most goals and assists between them two. Yeah. Out of any partnership in Premier League history, because they are just so insane. And Harry Kane's passing ability facilitates Son to go on and score 20 plus goals every season because he and that.
I do like Harry Kane. Do I?
Yeah, but like if Harry Kane's not there, you go, why is Harry Kane not playing?
Yeah. Do you not think that sometimes he stinks up the gaff for England, though?
No. I mean, sometimes... Well, actually, yeah, no, I do.
Sometimes I watch him, I'm like, Harry.
But I think that's only because, as England, we're literally expecting them to play...
Harry!
The most incredible football all the time. And we're like, well, if Harry Kane's not doing it, get Dominic Calvert-Lewin in.
Get Alan Shearer back.
The truth is, we actually don't have many good strikers apart from Tammy Abraham.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, last week I was like, England is stacked with strikers.
Yeah.
Stacked with just below average strikers.
Yeah, I mean,
just
Ollie Watkins, Danny Ings, Patrick Bamford, Tony.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're all just a tier below what you want.
None of them are world class.
Yeah. But I agree.
All right, the next bit is we'll get onto this one quickly. What is the solution? What is the magical formula that means Spurs have a successful season? What does it take for them to get third place, maybe even squeeze the second place finish?
I've got the answer for you.
What is it?
Start Regulion. Nah, I'm joking. For me, it's keeping the squad fit. I don't like Hugo Lloris, so maybe getting a goalkeeper that is a bit more astute.
Who's the bloke they got in that's meant to be an absolute mentalist?
Gazzaniga?
Yeah. Has he gone to Fulham?
I don't know.
But yeah, he's
I
meant to
assume so. If they got Fraser Forster in, they must.
I think Fraser Forster is a brilliant backup keeper.
Yeah, for a free transfer, it's quite nice.
But yeah, I mean, maybe another keeper. I think another centre back. Yeah. I think another top quality ball playing centre back would be ideal.
And then the main thing is what Chelsea have got absolutely sorted is those wing backs. If Spurs can have wing backs that are on a world class Reece James, Trent, Chilwell level, Spurs will get top 3 challenge for the league. Yeah. But at the moment, Spurs haven't found those wing backs that are gonna get you 10 plus assists.
Yeah.
If Jed Spence is as good as everybody's saying he's going to be, if Perisic is as good as everyone says he's going to be, and they can deliver goals, assists to a Reece James, Trent, Chilwell level, Spurs will be a problem.
I think the Jed Spence thing's weird because it wasn't even Conte's signing. Conte didn't even go.
Was that Patrici guy, wasn't it? And Lever.
Yeah, I think Daniel Levy. Daniel Levi jeans.
Come on.
Yeah, Daniel Levy was the one who facilitated the move because he wants to build him for the future.
Yeah.
And I think I saw a lot of him last season, Jed Spence, and he's a phenomenal player. And Warnock had that famous quote now, which you're either non-league or you're Premier League.
I think he's Premier League.
And he's smashing the Championship, so he must be Premier League.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think you're going to be watching him get just loads because Conte likes to go with what he knows.
Yeah.
And he'll play the safer bets most of the time.
But at wing backs, do they have safer bets? I feel like all their wing backs are kind of unknown.
Yeah,
dodgy quantities.
I mean, I think Spurs will prove an absolute challenge to. I think so. Unless you're playing to your best against them, you're going to have a really hard time breaking them down and not conceding, basically. Because I think the attacking assets they have are something that would frighten any Premier League team. I think City and Liverpool will be looking at Spurs thinking, right, that could be a problem. Yeah,
100%. I think I've seen people talk about Spurs for a title charge. I'm not sure they're quite there yet. Maybe a season after, once Conte has figured out this squad completely. But I think top 4 definitely. If he doesn't get top 4, that's a problem.
Yeah, I mean because
their squad is
too good. It's too good to not get top 4. Yeah. Right. We moving on to our third team in a minute.
We'll come on to the boys.
The boys.
Back again.
Time to talk about the boys in red.
Let's go.
The Gunners.
Yeah.
The Cannon Men.
We're known as the Cannon Men.
the Cannon Men.
Nah, let's talk about the boys.
The Emirates Eagles.
Obviously, there's been a lot of bad feeling around Arsenal for fucking God knows. Got to be 10 years now. Obviously, the whole Wenger getting fucking drawn out. Then the whole Emery doing all right. Mm-hmm. But his squad was
boring football.
Yeah, polluted full of bad eggs, boring football. And then people were like, you're wrong to get rid of him. Arteta came in, won the FA Cup, good feeling, then stunk it up. Everyone's like, what? Arsenal were looking at mid-table mediocrity. And I'm not going to shit you. I had that fear.
And now you're going to win the league.
The fear's gone, baby.
It is exciting times to be an Arsenal fan.
It's good
Bro,
vibes,
I'm excited
baby.
for Arsenal. Yeah,
it's good vibes.
I'm excited for Arsenal because the football that they're going to be playing is going to be
juicy,
unbelievable.
So I think the main thing for me is that our midfield, since the days of like Santi Cazorla, Ozil, and then if you rank Cesc, Nasri, Rosicky, since the days of those boys, we've lacked technical midfielders, technicians, magicians. We've lacked them. We've had fucking dead food in the midfield. But now we've got technicians back at the carpet. The carpet, because our pitch is nice. It's like a carpet.
Oh, okay, right.
But yeah, technicians back at the carpet is what I tweeted.
No dusty rugs.
Nah, mate. Good.
Good fresh carpet.
Yeah.
I mean, all right.
Let's talk about our window.
Yeah, talk about your window. The window's wide open. Talk about it.
Yeah. So obviously, he wasn't in this window, but top technician that I'm actually mad gassed plays for Arsenal is Odegaard. Like, back when he was touted as like
the next Messi.
And obviously he had a hard time at Madrid getting into that midfield. Anyone would have a hard time displacing Modric, Casemiro, Kroos. But you could tell wherever he went on loan that there was a player in there.
I mean, just seeing clips of him, I mean, you could tell the way that he like manipulated a football was a next level above good. It was above excellent. It was like finesse. Mate, everything he did was with finesse.
So aware of just everything around him. His IQ is through the roof when it comes to football IQ. And so obviously it's mad to think that back in the day when he was like touted to be the next big thing and he went to Madrid, that somehow he'd end up at Arsenal. And like, it hasn't been confirmed, but he's like our captain now.
Yeah. Which
is mad. And I'm very excited for him to lead this charge, this resurgence of technicians.
I think it'd be so funny if you just lost the first 4 games of the season.
I'm ready to eat my words when we do.
I think that'd be so funny. I mean, I can't see that happening. I think, obviously, the big one this window is big Gabriel Jesus.
You said earlier in the episode you think that's a fantastic signing. Talk to me.
Did I say that earlier?
Yeah, you said it's best signing of the window. He's the best player in the league, and Arsenal are going to win the World Cup.
Oh, that's what I said. My bad. I've got a short-term memory loss in a minute. Yeah, I think Gabriel Jesus is one of the signings of the window.
I agree.
I think he is what Arsenal were lacking. Not in terms of, they weren't like obviously they didn't have a goal scorer, but they had players like Lacazette who just wasn't really involved in the build-up play, and his versatility wasn't really there.
No, I think Lacazette is quite good at the build-up play, but his problem was that he'd come so involved in the build-up play.
That's what I mean.
But then he couldn't get back involved in the end segment and finishing.
But you'll see Jesus, even at City, he'll do it. He would come relatively deep for the ball, but not as deep as Lacazette would. And that's it. Do a touch off, and then he'd be gone.
Bolt to the box.
That's it.
And that's what we need.
He's better at finding those dangerous areas than Lacazette.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think he's a more technical player than Lacazette. And I think when you've got players like Smith Rowe, Martinelli, Saka, Odegaard, who are all just brilliant technicians, right? Having someone in front of them who can meld into that and create like sort of this weird amorphous blob of just technicality and being brilliant up front.
That's what Arsenal are.
It's going to make them so difficult to defend against because you won't know who's going to be where, and the versatility allows them to play. So say if like Saka's playing left wing or something, or Martinelli's playing left wing and they're really struggling and they can't seem to get the better of their man.
Yeah.
And they want to invert that. They can switch to the other side.
Yeah.
And like there's not a player across that sort of front three apart from Odegaard who will play centrally who can't really switch over.
Yeah.
Like you're looking at players in Martinelli, Saka, Smith Rowe who can play any like left or right side. So the ability to invert and to play like invert diagonal balls and find those men running into the box called footballers. Yeah, it's going to be brilliant. I think it's going to be such an exciting attacking team to see and exciting times for Arsenal fans.
Yeah, I think finally Arteta, which is why I think this season, if he doesn't get top 4, his head will be on the chopping block because he's finally got the team of technicians that he wants. Himself, as a player, was big fat technician. He knew how to pick a pass.
It's what he had at City.
And exactly, that's what he's had at City. So he's finally got this squad of technicians that he wants, and I think he can finally move to this formation that he's been desperate to play and hasn't been able to play. So last season, played the 4 at the back with 2 midfielders, Odegaard in front of him, the wingers and the central man. Now, I think Arteta's going to move towards the 4 at the back with the 1 central midfielder and 2 8s.
That pivot, yeah. The 6
and then the 2 wingers in the forward.
So who are you going to have played in that 6 role?
So Partey is... Do you know earlier when I was saying 2 players every team with Arsenal... If they lose them, the season's gone.
Yeah.
Arsenal, probably just 1. If Arsenal lose Partey through injury or other stories that we won't talk about, then it's a problem. Because I think I said this a while ago, he's like top 3 in the league at what he does. Him, maybe Fabinho and Rodri are the only midfielders that could play a central midfielder role by themselves and So Fernandinho no, not Fernandinho. Well, he did it as well back in the day. But Rodri allows De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva to play further up. And that's what Arteta's trying to do. He's trying to emulate that. And Liverpool, Fabinho allows, let's say, Thiago or Jordan Henderson or Naby Keita to play in front of him. And Partey can do that to a world-class level. So if Arsenal lose Partey, it's problems. But if they don't, him with Odegaard, Fabio Vieira or Smith Rowe.
Zinchenko,
yeah, I like that a lot. In the 2 8s with the wingers, Saka, Martinelli, Smith Rowe can play on that wing with Eddie and Jesus. What it allows is kind of what Liverpool do in the sense that these 2 8s can play in front of that DM and then they've got the wingers outside them and these fullbacks. So it's kind of like 2 clumps of 3 on either side that can kind of do kind of like a twisting motion.
That's it. So you're effectively creating overloads in these areas, but you're not risking anything because those players are versatile enough to be able to fill in those gaps that you would leave. And I think that's what
Arteta's been desperate for, is players that allow him to do that. And also, I think another good thing, and which is why Zinchenko, the signing of him, is naughty, because he's a probably like borderline world-class player in his position. And so to get him, he's been like versed in the City kind of style for how long has he been there? Like 6-7 years now. Mm-hmm. So he's been used to this kind of style of play. What he does is he can... I think James Lawrence talked about this a while ago, about the elbow tactic, where like if one fullback goes forward, the other one comes in. And so you play 3 at the back with 1 wide fullback either side going up.
Yeah.
What that does is obviously Arsenal have got Saliba back, which we'll talk about in a second because that's mental. Say we play Ben White right back or Tomiyasu, and we say Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes are in the middle. What it does is it allows Zinchenko to push forward, and then Ben White goes from right back to right centre back, and they play like a 3 at the back. Or say the other way round, if Tierney's playing and he doesn't want to go as far forward, Tierney tucks in left centre back, and we move the other way, Tomiyasu goes forward. So our team is so versatile. I don't know if you've seen it. I think I did a tweet about this a while ago from the BoreDraw account, where it was every team in the Premier League, their passing map. It's like a heat map. Yeah. And City's one was like perfectly symmetrical.
Well, that was it. It was like in the corners.
It was disgustingly symmetrical. And I think that's what Arteta wants. He wants to get a team where we can shift the play down either side and everyone knows the same passing map depending on what side of the pitch you're on. And I think hopefully with the players he's got now, it allows him to do that.
So this is what I wanted to move on to. Obviously, Arteta was assistant manager at Manchester City.
Yeah.
Do you think he's literally just adopting the approach and everything that he's obviously learned under Pep Guardiola and like just implementing it at Arsenal? Because obviously they've gone in for Jesus and Zinchenko who know Pep's system.
Yeah.
Do you think that's what
you're saying? Like, are we the City B team?
No, not even that. I think you're doing it differently.
Yeah.
I think
there's definite elements.
100%. And I think what you're doing, the style of players that you're bringing in are very Pep-esque.
Yeah. I think the build-up play, let's say like the defensive third and the central third, I think are very similar to Pep and how his City team play. But the final third is where we differ.
Yeah.
City like to go as close as they can to the byline and cut crosses in. Arsenal, I think, because of the technicians, and City probably could do this.
The edge of the box more.
City probably could do this because their technicians are through the roof anyway. But they don't really play much around the outside of the box. They go always around the outside and close to the byline.
Yeah.
Whereas Arsenal, I think their plan is to play around the edge of the box, find spaces in the four of like an opposition and go through the box head on rather than round the side. So I think that's where we differ. But I do agree, defensively and in the middle of the pitch, we play a very similar retain the ball, win it back as quick as possible, and then ball playing centre backs. I do agree there. Yeah.
Talking about ball playing centre backs, William Saliba back from his loan at Marseille.
Yeah.
I know he absolutely smashed it in Ligue 1 last season.
He was player of the season.
Player of the season. I think across Europe, he actually had the best passing stats. I know it's general, but I think he had generally the best passing stats amongst any centre back in Europe's top 5 leagues last season.
Yeah,
and I think that's like a whole new signing in
Mate,
itself.
It's like
I think he was. I think
£60 million signing.
In the Ligue 1 team of the season as well.
Yeah.
Like he was unbelievable for Marseille.
Yeah.
And I think Arsenal being able to have that is like
crazy.
I know. Gabriel had a brilliant season last season. Yeah. Unbelievable.
I think he's a very underrated defender.
Yeah, Gabriel. Fantastic player. Ben White as well came in and he did really well. I don't know if Ben White has that ceiling. I think he might. He doesn't have.
I agree. Saliba's ceiling
as
is
a
higher
lot
than
of players,
Ben White,
but
Saliba is athletically so dominant. I saw a picture of all three of them, and they're all pretty built lads. But Saliba at 21, so he's the youngest of the three. I think Ben White's like 25 and Gabriel's like 24. Mm-hmm. Saliba at 21 is built like a fucking shithouse, mate. He's huge.
Yeah, I mean, I think having. Like, obviously, Ben White is fairly good.
What I like about Ben White is his ability to play at right back as well.
Yeah, so
like
that
he did for England. And like I was saying earlier about, say we played that right back at Ben White and then we shift into a back three and allow Zinchenko. All three of them, Saliba, Gabriel and Ben White, are all so comfortable at centre-back that we could move into a free mid-game, and that's such a good element.
Teams like Brighton under Graham Potter, Scotland as well, they adopt where they move into that 3 centre back and almost have a back 5 with the wide players. So do you reckon we could ever see a time where Arsenal adopt an approach of playing Zinchenko as a wide wing back and Tierney as that left centre back tucked in and then pushing out to the wide?
Yeah, I think potentially. I think maybe not in like Prem games and stuff. Maybe in kind of like a Europa League game where we want to test out like a weird team and get some kids involved. Then you have like a strong back line and you let the kids do their things in front of them. But for me, I just want to go back to Saliba. A lot of people, when we loaned him out to Marseille, and so we loaned him out for 2 seasons in a row, he went back to, was it Nice?
Did you see the video that was released of him?
Oh, a while back.
Yeah, I thought that was his career done.
It's pretty fuck shit.
It was a weird video, but we'll skip past that.
We'll pretend that didn't happen. But so we sent him back on loan and then went to Marseille, and everyone was saying Arteta's handling his time at Arsenal really badly. But I think everyone will come to disagree.
But that was because Arsenal was so lacking technical players, and they just signed this brilliant sounding young centre back, and everyone's like, just chuck him in the first team, see what we can do.
That ruins careers sometimes. 100%. If you chuck a player in that's young at the wrong time, fans, especially Arsenal fans, if you're not up
Arsenal
to scratch,
fans are the one that like they just don't. They will just come for you.
Yeah, we are,
and
bad.
They will have no reason to, and they will give no reasons why.
Yeah.
And the reasonings that they have for doing it in their heads are clapped.
Yeah. Now there are some fucked Arsenal fans. Look, there's fucked everyone
fans. Yeah, but Arsenal fans get the limelight on them because I think it's people like Arsenal fan TV.
Yeah, Arsenal fan TV started that whole generation.
Yeah, and like fair enough.
It's just a bad look. But yeah, so Arsenal fans are obviously pretty grim. And if Saliba came in the team, did he cheeky cunt? So if Saliba came in the team young, so when we signed him, he was 19.
In a pretty stinky Arsenal team.
And at that point, it was a stinky Arsenal team. Yeah. And say stunk it up, players would have ran him out of the country. Fans would have ran him out of the country. And so Arteta sent him out of the country early doors anyway. Allowed him to develop into this Ligue 1 team of the season, player of the year player that's come back. He's older. He's had 2 years.
1 year older.
Yeah.
1 whole year.
2 years older, actually.
Is it 2 years?
Yeah. So we sent him out at 19.
Yeah, fair
but quick maths.
Quick maths.
So yeah, he's come back. He's had Champions League experience. He's played against the likes of Mbappe. I think he's up to scratch, and I think he'll bed in well now.
Exciting times.
He's like a £50 million defender.
Is there anywhere in the Arsenal squad where you think, we could do with just one more signing? Or is there any specific player that you're like, Arsenal, this is the one. This is the one we need?
Yeah. I think, like I was saying earlier, if Partey isn't around, we're in trouble. Which is why I would have liked us to see us get Basuma. But I think Basuma wouldn't have wanted to be a backup to Partey because he's not as good as Partey. And so he wouldn't have wanted to be...
They're different, though.
I think they're quite similar.
Yeah.
They're like aggressive
I'm pretty
DMs.
sure you said Basuma was like the top 3 in the league.
What? At what?
At what he does.
Yeah, I think he is. But I think Partey's better than him.
So where does Fabinho and Rodri fit into that top 3?
I don't know. Maybe it's...
I think, do you know what though? The thing is, we've seen Partey do it for a top team.
Yeah.
Where is Basuma? He's done it for a Brighton team who are very good.
Yeah.
But they're not on an Arsenal level at the minute. So it'd be interesting to see whether he can do it with more pressure, basically.
Yeah, 100%.
And in a system, and this is Basuma we're talking about, in a system where he's going to have more of the ball than a Graham Potter, a Brighton system.
And that's what I like that Partey has that Basuma doesn't, is Partey's ball playing ability.
Yeah,
is so much better than Basuma.
That is Basuma's big
weakness.
He almost has zero.
Yeah, exactly.
Ball playing ability,
which is why I think we need someone that's like Partey, can ball play at DM, and I don't know who's out there that could be that vibe, but that's our main problem area for me, is a DM to replace Partey if Partey's not about.
Is it top 4 or bust for Arteta?
100%.
100%. I mean.
I'm a big fan of Arteta, and I'm never Arteta out. I never have been. I don't think I ever will be. I think if we don't get top 4, I still don't think I'll be calling for his head.
If you're there and thereabout, it's different.
Yeah, I think if we don't get top 4, I won't be Arteta out. But if we don't get top 4 and say the board get rid of him, I'll understand why. But
the only thing is, you've got to be able to replace him with someone.
Which is what I'm saying.
But for Arsenal, it's very much about the project.
Yeah.
It's very much about the project. I mean, come Christmas, say you're like, I don't know, 9th in the league. You know, you're a fair bit away from that top 4 spot.
Then there's
a problem because you've got that entire Qatar World Cup where Arsenal fans are thinking, we could go for him and get him in. He'll be able to do a job. Get Steve Bruce in. You know what I mean?
Get Brucey in.
Get Brucey on. Yeah. Get Bruce on the loose.
Yeah, last thing I want to talk about with Arsenal is Arteta's done a great job at getting out, I'd say, 80% of our deadwood.
The deadwood at Arsenal was unbelievable.
Mate, you could build a deadwood ship out of the dead wood that was floating about at the Emirates. And he's done a good job at getting rid of most of it. But we still have, I'd say, 4 or 5 players that if any clubs are out there, we'll do a fire sale.
Now you just got to get troops to start supporting
Torreira.
That's the biggest problem.
Ainsley Maitland-Niles.
I like Maitland-Niles.
He's not up to Arsenal level.
Yeah, but he's good. He's a good backup.
Put a word in at QPR.
I'll get Michael Beale.
Yeah.
Chris Willock's a baller, man.
Yeah, and Ainsley, they probably played together. They probably played together at Hale End.
Yeah, probably.
So get him on the blower. Get him down to QPR, Loftus Road. Torreira, need to get him out.
Torreira didn't want to come back.
Oh my god!
Torreira literally said, "Please don't send me back."
Twerking for every single.
Is it Fiorentina? Is that?
Yeah.
And then they was like, "Yeah, we're not paying the fee for you."
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So we got Pablo Mari. We need to get rid of. So we got some.
He wasn't that bad for you, was he?
He's all right. He's just not up to scratch with the likes of Saliba.
Yeah.
Gabriel, Ben
Rob Holding.
I'd say Rob Holding's better than him.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think
I like Rob Holding.
Post hair transplant Holding is a different animal. Different.
Arsenal and Gabriel's getting a hairline transplant. So we're literally like,
who's the baldest Premier League player?
As in,
like who's a really good bald Premier League player right now?
Wow.
John Joe Shelby would get a hair transplant.
John Joe Shelby,
and you will literally be carrying England to the Qatar World Cup.
Not that many slapheads.
Yeah, but John Joe Shelby,
he's probably
hair transplant. Yeah, no longer called Voldemort, right?
Yeah,
captains England to Qatar glory, like long hair, mate.
Mate,
different levels, right?
Puyol hat.
We're going to take a little break and we'll be back to finally get to the Red Devils, Erik ten Hag's Manchester United.
Let's go.
And we are back to talk about the final team on our agenda. A very interesting summer for Manchester United fans. Obviously, Ralf Rangnick gone, not doing his consultancy role as everyone knew. Brought in Erik ten Hag from Ajax.
Yeah, boy.
And they've had an interesting summer. I mean, a lot of off-field issues with a big man named Cristiano Ronaldo. Very, 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 very interesting stuff happening there. Actually, I don't care. Basically, I'm very interested to see what Ten Hag does here because I've seen a lot of clips from their pre-season, and the football is flowing. And I think with Ten Hag, if you give him time, he will produce a quality team. And the signings that they've made, as well as some of the players they brought back into the fold, is really interesting. I'm quite excited to see what they can do, and I think they might be a real threat this season.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, I think they will be. I mean, I think the signings they made in players like Lisandro Martinez.
That was nicely pronounced.
That was quite good, actually. I was surprised myself. It's I'm going to use the word again. It's a progressive signing.
Yeah.
It's a signing they're not just spending like 60 million on a centre-back who's going to not like a Koulibaly, but because they wouldn't even get Koulibaly. Yeah. They're going for someone who's got potential
and
to improve.
Part of the Ten Hag project.
He's not
a Glazer signing that's like there to sell t-shirts.
Yeah, they've gone for someone like Malacia as well.
Yeah, so they're the players that Man United fans probably have never heard of. Don't want to slate them. But Ten Hag is being like, I want these players because they will fit my style, understand what I want from them. They're not fucking, the likes of... I don't want to slate Jadon Sancho, but Jadon Sancho was signed because he's a big name, big prospect to sell t-shirts and keep the fans happy.
And I think that's an important aspect. I mean, obviously Manchester United are a huge club, so it's very easy for the fans to quickly jump on the hype of a player, like they did with Martial, like they've done with Sancho, and it not work out straight away. But because they're so intense, the fans, it gets onto their backs, and they're so vocal on social media and outside the ground. Fans, I mean, they're literally storming the training ground. I know that's to do with deep-rooted issues with Edward Wood and the Glazers, but that doesn't help. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
But some of the obviously in the preseason, he's brought back into the fold. He's brought Rashford into the fold again. Martial after his loan spell at Sevilla, where it didn't really work out for him.
No, it didn't at all. But in pre-season, he's looked really good.
He's looked really, really exciting.
The thing with Martial is, you can see
there's a baller there.
You can see there's a baller there.
Serious
and
player.
I don't know if it's just the system that's never suited him. The manager's never believed in him. He's never had a run of games where it's given himself confidence. But if something ticks for him, he'll be a machine for United.
I think come first game week, come this time next week, he'll be leading the line for United.
Yeah, a lot of people were saying that even if Ronaldo says, "Oh yeah, I'm happy to stay now," he won't start that first week.
I mean, I've seen clips of Ten Hag taking training. That man does not take shit.
Yeah, well, you see that when De Gea tried to play a pass out and he went off the pitch and he was like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah. I mean, I like that. I like that. You've literally got to take the approach of it. Doesn't matter who you are. Even if you are Cristiano Ronaldo, you can't act like that.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't 100% know what's gone on, what's not happened, what has happened, but we can only speculate. But regardless, he's not done turned up for training. For family issues, I think it was.
I think at first it was family issues, but I think the fact that now he's gagging for a move away makes you just think, was there actually family issues?
And then now he's sort of realised that he's not going to get a move anywhere.
Yeah.
He can't just walk back into the team, which he probably would have done so under a Solskjaer or even a 100%. Ralf Rangnick. I mean, Ronaldo didn't have a bad season last season either.
Nah, he was the best player.
He was their best player, but... you can have a star player like that, but it is so much better to have a system that works.
Which is what we said a couple of episodes, actually not a couple of, it was one of our first episodes where we said, is it a blessing in disguise
that he wants to leave
if Ten Hag doesn't have to deal with Ronaldo?
It was about the clean slate.
I think it is, because if he can get a full clean slate where you haven't got the baggage of Ronaldo, you haven't got the baggage of all the fans and all these big signings, then I think Ten Hag can fully get to grips with this team and impart his identity.
Because that's what United need. They needed literally a whole blank slate to work with. And ideally, they literally would have shipped out their entire squad and just built new with the identity that Ten Hag wants to build. The problem is the
club's too big to give themselves.
Yeah, of course it is. And they've got players on so much money who are probably quite happy to pick up a paycheck on the bench.
Yeah, 100%.
So Ten Hag's Ajax played a 4-3-3.
Yeah.
Obviously, some brilliant players in the previous Ajax teams like Frankie de Jong,
Donny van der
Beek. Yeah. So Anthony as well, who United been linked to.
Lisandro Martinez. Yeah. So just, and all these players are technical excellence. I think one thing you get with the Ajax teams all the time is just technical excellence.
I mean, everyone that comes through that academy is technically so proficient. It's the next level. And that's why they can literally bring these players through. And they might not actually be the greatest players, but because they are technical and they look so good within his system, they can whack like 60 million onto their players' price 100%. And they sell them for it because teams know that Ajax players are ballers. And that technically, and with football IQ as well, they're up there with the best.
Yeah.
So Malacia as well as a left back coming in to compete with Luke Shaw.
Yeah.
Luke Shaw's a weird one for me because sometimes he looks like the best left back in the world.
Yeah.
And then sometimes he looks like he just like what's going on. Obviously they've lost Paul Pogba. Didn't really work out. I think Paul Pogba on his day, one of the best players in the world.
Yeah.
It's not worked out, and he's gone to Juventus. Had a horrific
that him and United story just needed to end. It was toxic for both.
It went on for too long, didn't it?
100%.
But yeah, he's gone to Juventus and
got the knee injury.
That's sad because we know what he can do.
He looked excited to like kick on with his career.
Yeah, and I think an excited Pogba is a dangerous thing to play against.
You see, he might miss World Cup, which is quite sad.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll go back to Luke Shaw. I think the problem that I've had with Luke Shaw, I totally agree with you saying. I think some games, when United are flying, he looks like the best wing back in the league. But when they're shit, I think his defensive IQ is just really bad. Mm-hmm. And the problem with that is he's alongside Harry Maguire, whose defensive IQ is also really bad. So they can't help each other.
Yeah.
I think one of them, either Harry Maguire would look good again next to a left back whose defensive IQ is really good, and will tell Harry Maguire, yo, you're in the wrong place.
Yep. Step
forward. Exactly. Or Harry Maguire alongside a wing back whose defensive IQ is like, you can go forward, but you know when to come back. But because they're both so bad defensively, that side of the pitch just gets ripped apart all the time.
I mean, you watch goals that that England have conceded, that United have conceded last season, and Harry Maguire's positioning for some of those goals is so questionable that if he does that under under Ten Hag, he will just get dropped.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Erik Bailly get another run on the side. I think Erik Bailly's been underutilised.
Yeah, 100%.
I've seen the clip today where he just goes for some crazy challenges.
He goes for like a drop kick tackle. Yeah. And you see the one where he goes for a tackle and then slides. And then does like a swivel. Yeah. He is so
brilliant.
But
obviously they've got Rafael Varane there, who's been a top 5 centre back in the world, perhaps,
but
for
had
years.
A bit of an average one last year.
But yeah, I mean, it maybe takes time, but he's not young. Do you know what I mean? Was he 30?
Yeah.
So
I think the problem is he plays where Harry Maguire should play.
Oh, 100%.
And so either you play him and Luke Shaw and he tells Luke Shaw, yo, you're doing too much, or you play Harry Maguire and you don't play Varane and you play... Because Varane is either getting played out of position or played wrongly. And so, yeah, they need to figure out their best defensive line.
So this is what I was going to say. Now that Martinez has come in, for the fee that he's come in for, you assume he's going to be starting pretty much most games.
I hope so.
So that means, unless they go to a back three, which I don't think they will do, one of Maguire or Varane's getting drops, right?
Yeah.
So Maguire's been kept as captain for this season, which I think it might be in the Tifo podcast. I think one of them said that it's a smart move because what Man United don't need at this minute is more controversy off the pitch.
Yeah.
They don't need people getting on the back of Harry Maguire and being like, haha, you lost the captaincy. They don't need more speculation about who's going to be the captain.
Yeah. And who even...
So that is a thing. But I mean, yeah, so obviously he's going to play with a deep line midfielder, a deep line playmaker, basically.
Which they need to sign.
Which
We'll talk about that position in a minute.
Like, they can get away with Eriksen playing that role. He's done it before, but he's not defensively proficient enough to get away with it. He'd be much more...
You're not getting into the top 4 with Eriksen.
Mate, he'd be a much better utilised further up the pitch.
100%.
And I think Eriksen's been a brilliant signing for them, though, because... Well, he's going to be a brilliant signing.
Yeah.
Because they have aerial threats, especially if Ronaldo gets back into the squad. Ronaldo, we see what Harry Maguire can do from corners. Varane's not a small boy either.
Yeah.
So if you have someone who can pinpoint, drop free kicks, corners into those danger areas, like Eriksen done for Brentford last season.
Yeah.
Then, I mean, he was only matched by Ward-Prowse in terms of chances created from set pieces, from dead ball situations. So that is another just fantastic asset to have.
No, I think he's a
that
good
can
sign.
really win. So like games where it might be 1-0 or 0-0 and they're really struggling to break down a team, but they win a free kick on the edge of the box or something through a Sancho bit of trickery, Rashford, Martial, whatever. Bun off Bruno, get Eriksen on it.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I think Eriksen is a good sign for free, and I think he allows the likes of Bruno...
He's good at pressing as well.
Yeah, exactly that. I was going to say, it allows the likes of Bruno to maybe not be the lead press, because let's say Eriksen or Rashford or whoever can be the lead press, because last year what we've seen is Bruno leading the press, and like I could see that he was doing it to kind of like rally the troops and like make sure the fans were happy, but he can't lead a press. It's so disjointed, and that's what everyone was saying about United's press. Everyone was
trying to press.
Slate was like, they can't press, and then everyone was like, oh no, they are trying to press, but they're just doing it so disjointedly. It was like one person pressing, fail. Another person fail.
So when
you press, you need to press in like clusters around the pitch.
You press in clusters, but you also need to press... You don't just press into the players. You press into those passing lanes, cut off options, so it makes them make a mistake as well, which United weren't doing. They were running at players at full speed. The player would play a pass or turn them, drop back 10 yards, and play a ball, and then they're exposed. So it just didn't work.
So they need a more organised press, which is what I think Ten Hag has probably worked on and will enforce.
So for United, right, they're going to play pretty similar to Arsenal almost. They're going to have a 6 and potentially 2 8s.
Yeah, in Eriksen and
Fernandes. But who is going to play that 6 role? Because
I think that's why they were in the market for De Jong, because I think De Jong, what he offers is defensive stability, because his defensive stats are really
good.
And obviously his progressive passes are a joke. So I think he would have been ideal, but obviously he's fucked them
What
off.
we'll do is we'll have a count of this episode of how many times we said progressive.
It's what the game is.
It's the word of the day. BoreDraw, get progressive. But yeah. But the problem
they
is,
need someone like
obviously, there's only a week now until the season begins.
Yeah.
Frankie de Jong doesn't look any closer to joining United.
Not at all.
Barcelona, we'll come back to them, are spending just money out their arse that they don't have.
Yeah.
So it doesn't seem like he's going to leave. He doesn't want to leave.
Yeah.
So what happens? Does Fred play that 6 role?
Not a fucking chance. I like Fred.
Does Scott McTominay?
No. He can get sacked, mate. He's shit.
Does Donny van der Beek?
I like Donny van der Beek, but that's, I think, a lot of pressure for someone that's he's had a hard time at United, and that's a lot of pressure to put on him.
Or, this is a rogue one, Lisandro Martinez play that 6 role.
Well, I think that is definitely something that he has in his locker.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
He's played there for Ajax.
Yeah, 100%. I think... So they've been loosely linked with him. I think Arsenal were as well, but I think he's a player that should be at a better club by now. Is Sergej Milinkovic-Savic from Lazio?
Yeah, Milinkovic-Savic. He's been linked with a lot of big teams.
Clubs. I think Barcelona were before they got Kessie in. Arsenal were, like, when this whole Tom Partey situation came about, Arsenal were linked with him. And Man United for quite a few consecutive seasons have been linked with Milinkovic-Savic. And he's someone that gives you goals and assists from deep, can play the 6 role, and he's in his prime, and I think he'd be a good signing for United.
Yeah,
I think he needs to move on. Obviously, he's probably got a lot of
step up.
Yeah, he's got a lot.
Lazio are a very good level.
Yeah,
but the Premier League is that is the next step, isn't it? Or one of the elite teams.
If he wants to be seen as one of the best midfielders in the world, which I'm sure he does, you need to be at a big top club,
yeah.
And I think he would be a mega signing for United.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't been linked with him, though.
No, very loosely at the start of the summer, but I don't think anything will happen there. And it's too late in the window, really, to make a big signing like that. But I don't know.
So
without any links.
basically what we've nailed it down to is United, if they want to have a successful season, they need to find someone to play that 6th role.
Yeah.
If they don't get Frankie de Jong in, they are in trouble.
I think they put too many eggs in his basket.
Potentially. I mean, we're looking at teams who are investing in a lot of players.
Yeah.
United have made good signings in Lisandro Martinez and Malathia.
And Eriksen, but it's still not good enough, really. For like, if you want to do a different
tact to their previous windows where they've gone out and bought a Varane, Ronaldo, or the Jadon Sancho. Like, it's a very different tact. But I hope that players like Sancho and Rashford and Martial can kick on.
Sancho, from what I've seen, has looked like their best player this preseason.
Yeah, and I think he's going to be asked to do less this season, which allows him to do more in a way.
Yeah,
like he's not gonna have to play under a Rangnick system where he's constantly pressing and cutting down passing lanes. I know that Ten Hag will still impose that to an extent, but it's not win the game through gegenpress. It's win the game through creating opportunities around and outside the box through smart passing and movement.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And the flexibility in their midfield trio will really help them. But they need that solid anchor point, that pivot player,
and they haven't had that for a long time.
I mean, who they had since like Carrick, who can do that?
Yeah, exactly. Literally that. Yeah.
Like, and that's, I think Carrick turned 40 this year.
Yeah.
This week. Was it this week, I think?
Well, I think I saw
was it yesterday or something like that?
Yeah, I think he was on my timeline, like a picture of young Carrick, and it was like happy.
I saw maybe it was a quote from Pep Guardiola that said Carrick was up there with Xavi and Iniesta in his eyes.
I think he was slept on as a player.
Mate, he could have been. He never played for England, really, didn't he? Wasn't really in England's whereabouts. But yeah.
Let me talk to you about the 4 then.
What, the big 4?
Who do you reckon is finishing the high? We'll do a league prediction. That's actually coming out soon.
Yeah.
But who do you think's finishing the highest out of the 4 we spoke about today?
I think, for me, they have the best manager, and they've had arguably the best transfer window. It's got to be Spurs for me.
Interesting.
It's got to be Spurs for me. But I think, as a team, Arsenal and Man United are very close in terms of how much potential they have to thrive. Arsenal, we sort of know what they're going to be doing, and we know how they're going to play, and they've only just improved the squad, and they've brought in excellent players. United brought in a whole new manager, and from stuff, I know it's only pre-season, but from stuff we've seen in pre-season, they've looked like they can be really dangerous, but I think it's going to take a while to gel. And like, I mean, they're going to come unstuck against some lower Premier League teams where they just set up a deep block and just won't work out for them.
Yeah.
But I think, I think Spurs, okay. And I think, but I honestly, I haven't even made my predictions yet because I'm trying to give it to the last minute because it's so difficult, especially between these 4, because any of them on their day could beat any of the other ones.
Well, and for me,
I think, just one last comment, I think all 4 of these teams have made steps, maybe not United, but I think all 4 of these teams, particularly Arsenal and Spurs, have made steps to close the gap between them and Liverpool and City.
No, I agree. I'd say Spurs and Arsenal have definitely made the most steps. I'd say Chelsea and Man United have probably not made much. I'd say they've probably remained about the same.
Yep.
Because Chelsea have got in Sterling, Koulibaly good, but they've lost Rudiger, lost Lukaku. And United haven't really made major signings, but what they've done is they've started a road to this new identity, which is always a positive. But yeah, I agree. For me, who will finish the highest out of these 4 is between Spurs and Arsenal. I'm going to go for the boys, obviously.
Yep.
But I think Arsenal and Spurs, and we'll do a window ranking at the end of the window. But at this moment in time, Arsenal and Spurs have had the best windows.
Yep.
And the squads, the depth has been improved like perfectly. So I think those 2 are the closest to City and Liverpool.
Yeah.
That's where we're at.
Let us know who you think out of these 4 teams is going to be finishing the highest. Anyone that you think might be a dark horse out of these teams made for a little title push. Who knows?
Yeah.
But don't be silly. Basically, let us know what you think about any of the comments we made in this episode today. There's been some funny ones. There's been some serious stuff. But make sure you follow us on all the socials.
All the socials, baby.
Join our BoreDraw Fantasy Premier League. We're going to be... we've got some stuff in the...
got some stuff cooking.
We've got some fantasy videos coming out. But we're going to have a prize for the winner of the league at the end of the season. It's going to be a good prize.
Sub to our YouTube channel, because... we obviously now we've got the camera. We're going to be pushing out YouTube exclusive content, because not all our content is just the podcast. We've obviously got the fantasy chats. We're going to do little smaller videos like kit rankings, tier lists and stuff. So there's stuff that you won't see on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever.
Yeah.
So if you want to be up to date with all our content, obviously follow our Spotify, all that stuff. But YouTube is where it's at, baby.
YouTube's going to be our primary content.
Yeah,
there is not a piece of content that we make that doesn't go on YouTube, basically.
But
so follow that and follow all our socials. Follow our TikTok as well. It's going to be popping. We say that every week, but it's going to be popping.
Hasn't changed.
Yeah, hasn't changed since last week, but it's going to be popping.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks very much for listening, guys.
Hope you enjoyed.
Yeah. It's been BoreDraw. It's been Regulion. And it's live. Come on.